before we do anything, can I just see your pinkies, everyone?
Pinkies?
Yeah, your pinkies. Can I see?
Someone asked me that 2 days ago. Like, what is that for? What does that mean?
Or is it
checking?
the voting?
Okay.
You know, oh man, you didn't vote.
So, where have you been?
It's Vanessa. It's okay.
I'm always indoors. So.
She's an introvert.
Yeah.
Are you guys happy with the results though? What's your take? It's like basically, I know you didn't vote, but then you'd have an opinion. Do you even have an opinion at this point? Yeah. What's your opinion? What are you thinking?
In what way though? Like be specific.
You're like basically. Well, do you know who won the elections?
Yes.
I just told you.
What? So what's your take on it? Yeah.
Well, ED has experience, and Chamisa is a new guy. So, I don't know. I would feel safer being in the hands of someone who has experience than one who's just starting off. And it's not to say the one who's starting off doesn't have experience. They do.
Yeah.
But on the ED, I've been doing it longer. They've been in the game.
That's very interesting, especially considering it's politics. Right? You're getting it for your experience, but then the question is the experience. Has it been very good experience?
Good to
That's the thing. That's why it's also complicated.
So that's subjective.
Yeah.
Mr. Meraki, you'd have voted. What did you go for? And what's your take?
I think if you guys were there and if the viewers were there on the first episode, I said, you don't ask me who I fought for.
It's too obvious.
It's too obvious. ED has my vote.
My man.
But why though? Why for you?
I like his vision, right? Where he want to take us to.
Yeah.
Right? I like that, and it's different from someone who wants to tell us where they want us to go, as compared to someone who is already on the process of taking us there.
Exactly, and that comes with that experience.
So just before we continue, can we get just you guys to introduce yourselves to our viewers? We're seeing a couple of new faces. We've had some of you guys on the previous podcast episode that you made, but then today is going to be different. Today, we're doing a much more fun episode, I would say, and I'm super excited. So just before we start, just very quick introductions and just basic information, whatever you'd like to share with the viewers. We're going to tackle a bit of conversation, some which may be deemed as uncomfortable, some which may be very controversial. So then we need people to know who they're listening to. So just give us as much information as you can, just so that we have the viewers knowing whom they're listening to. We'll start with you.
All right, thank you. I hope everyone's sitting comfortable. Everyone's good.
Too comfortable.
I'm Siphosetu. C4. That's the name. That's the name the streets gave me.
Cool.
But the name I was born with is Siphosetu Mtembu.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I'm just here for the vibes. There's the job description. I'm just here for the vibes to share my thoughts on just us having chips and a couple of sweets and juice and see what that leads to.
Love it, man. Love it.
Thank you.
Great to have you here, man.
Talk about chips or eating them.
Yeah. Thank you.
Don't forget them. Go for them. Yeah. Mr. Meraki.
Yeah.
All fine. So
just remind the folks, man. Remind the people. There's no way they'll forget. I mean, from the first step, they will not forget.
He was like that.
Oh man.
It's Kenias the Meraki.
Yeah.
Kenias, that's the name that my parents gave me. The Meraki, it's where I'm going. It's the anchor of what I do. I'm a hybrid creative artist, spoken word poetry, author, photography, blogger, and I love speaking a lot.
Yeah.
And as I said that at the time, I have a new book on sale, The Reincarnation Memoirs. It's a poetry anthology. If you love poetry, that's the book that you have to read.
Mama,
and if you're in love with romance and stuff, you want to have some romantic lines to channel your girl and all that, that's the book for you. If you're heartbroken, that's the book for you.
Oh man, caters for a lot of things.
Yes,
that's deep.
For everyone. Right, so it's now available. I hope Taco is going to give you the number on the description. You can get the hard copy at $10, the soft copy at $5, and then you have a nice read.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, we'll definitely be pushing that on all our social media.
Yeah.
So if anybody is interested, please be sure to reach out and you get it there. And lastly but not least, our favorite girl. Yeah.
Well, I'm Vanessa Chinyenze, and I love all things to do with life. So I venture into those things. Yeah. And I love it.
That's pretty cool. So just before we started, we were talking about politics.
Yeah.
And I'm not too sure if you guys saw, but then Youthoughts, we had a live that we did. I don't know, do you guys see this somewhere? The live, we did a live on politics, and we had we were meant to have two parties involved, which is obviously the two of the biggest parties, which is CCC.
Yes.
Sipho, we didn't ask, what did you vote for? Who did you vote for?
My vote is
Are you
my
comfortable
secret.
disclosing?
I'm not
Yeah,
doing
you're not
that.
comfortable. That's fine.
Maybe later on as we go on.
So here's what I realized, right? When we put out an ad to say we're going to be hosting this, we got a lot of ZANU-PF guys who were willing to come forward, and they said, well, I want to take part of this. I literally had to do a selection and choose between ZANU-PF people. The other party, which was CCC, we actually didn't get anyone who was seriously interested in voicing out their thoughts. So now I'm assuming that your vote would have been.
I've just realized if you ask someone, if you ask someone, I'm not saying Kutito's actually quiet, but if you ask someone like, who did you vote for, and if they say I'm going to keep it confidential,
Exactly.
it means
There's something else.
it's the other side, you know.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, but you know what? For the sake of the show, I'm on the other side because I've been put on the other side.
Come on, don't say good now.
No, I'm tripping. Yeah,
Okay, Bob.
yeah.
Because this is we can still chill. you know.
Yeah,
because this is what we're trying to promote, right? We're trying to promote having the youth people have different ideas and still be able to share substances and have a great time, you know, without having to necessarily look at each other and say, Ruezano, you know, the way we understand it. Because I do think that the political environment in the country is very toxic, and it's not how it's supposed to be.
Yes.
Because then voting becomes this thing that just like divides the country, and it's never a comfortable time when these things come, you know, because you've got people that are going one direction and others going a different direction, and these people not necessarily being able to come together, and which that needs to be done away with, you know, completely eradicated, and introduce a much more you know, like a very good environment, you know, where people can have political differences and still be able to do what we are doing. But I don't think that we'll get there anytime soon in Zimbabwe.
We will.
You think so?
Yes, that's why we're here, right? To preach that. That's why we use arts to preach that.
Yeah.
Right? But it's just like it's a process.
Yeah.
We have been coming from certain fairs, right? So we are now this called now the Second Republic. We were coming from a fair where we wouldn't have been having even this conversation at some point in time, no matter which party you support, right? But now we are free to do this. Right, we are even free. We would see someone wearing a Triple C yellow T-shirt in the streets. Me wearing my ZANU-PF, and then we just like cross, no fighting and all that, because the party has been saying we don't want violence, and that's it. So people, with time, are getting to see that it's not about fighting fist fights. It's about developing the country that make people vote for you. So if you don't develop your community, no one's going to vote for you. Or at times, just people tend to vote for someone just because it's from this party, which is one thing that is also killing us at some point, because you cannot say I don't like ZANU, so even if the person is doing good, I'm not going to vote for him. That's
just because he's ZANU.
Yeah.
But there's been a lot of controversial, just like a bit of controversy, because artists in Zimbabwe have opted to, at least some of them, most of them, have opted to take a very neutral stance, so that their personal lives are not affected or their careers are not affected. What do you guys think of this? I mean, you're artists, you'd definitely be able to understand. What do you think of it?
I think where it starts off is, how do you do your art, right?
Right.
How do you protect your art, right? What is it that you're telling the people? So if you want to remain neutral, it's still fine. You can remain neutral. But if you feel like what you're creating, because being a creative is a process. So if I'm vibing with creating something that supports something or someone, let me go for it. And at some point in time, we have to be very clear and careful when now you're coming out. Like I remember from my neighborhood, I'm from Bindura, right? And over the years, I've been neutral, right? You wouldn't find me at a rally of either TBC or ZANU-PF.
Right.
But then I came up with like, I'm supporting ZANU-PF, right? Some people were okay with it. Certain people were not okay with it because people have different views and stuff. But the idea of me coming out that way was it was personal. You understand? And someone could even say, maybe I'm not going to buy his book because it's now supporting this part of stuff.
So that was going to be my next question, and Sipho, I think you want to take that one. That if you're an artist and you then choose to say, this is the side that I'm going to take, I'm not doing Zanu PF, I'm not CCC, and obviously come out publicly, do you think that affects your viewership? So we're talking Holy 10. This guy is a musical genius, right? I'm still listening to his music. I may not necessarily be a big fan of Zanu or CCC, whatever it is, but because this dude produces substantial content, that just
he's still popping.
Do you think he's going to face any trouble? Do you think his career gets interesting from here, or is it just going to be a thing that people are going to forget because of how good he is?
I think if you do the math, who won the elections? ED. And who's he supporting? ED. So he's good for the next 5 years. As long as he's safe, it's a free country, he can release more. Zimbabwe is his. And for now, he's been calling himself the king of Zim hip hop, He's a great. That's how he views himself.
Right.
Thanks.
And he's making the music. He's giving us what people want. And he's sharing generations. Like, I could relate to things that he talk about, and I'm at chills. People were having my chills. People were drinking a lot of alcohol. People were doing a lot after Corona. So what you're asking is now, Kuti, what does that do to his career? And I think it's all right. It's his choice. It could have gone both ways.
Would you go so far as to start encouraging those that don't come out to then now tell them, okay, this young man has done it. He's come out.
Imagine we're talking about politics, but that's come out.
No, not really. But remember, in America, sometime with Kanye was supporting Trump.
Kanye? Yes.
It was controversial. You see, he just came out, and I'm a big fan of Kanye. Just like he just comes out from Bloomberg, and then I'm going with Trump. Let's make America great again.
Would you then, Vanessa, would you start encouraging those that don't actually freely come out as yet to say it's now being done, your precedence has been set, it's now okay, you can now come out, just like don't hide behind you.
It's tricky. I mean, if he has made it, then obviously he's done something right. So that's a good thing. That's a good role model. Someone for people to consider to maybe like follow his advice. Yeah, I think it's genius, like how you can, because Holy 10 came out of like nowhere, and now he's who he is. Everyone knows him, so I think he's understood where he is. Right. He's okay with it, but he has his own vision. And it's working for him.
Exactly.
You see, Master has said about WhatsApp now to cut it 30 seconds, right? And then Tago, you ask Vanessa, is it okay to come out? And then Vanessa is like, yes. So there's this group that's going to just like check out what Cheto, like, so Vanessa is supporting the Vanessa come out of the couple, like saying, the language when say come out. Like
come out of the closet, That's all I was making reference to.
Because we mentioned that like Holy 10, he came out talking about which political party he supports.
Right.
And then we look at his career, like he's very successful. Is it possible that it was interconnected, or he just was like, whether or not he supports ZANU, I don't know if I'm making sense, but whether or not he supports ZANU PF, would he
become what he is now? Oh man, that's actually so interesting. So
he was already great before that.
He was quite big. He was. I personally think he was quite big because we knew about him.
He just added impact, and I think to support a party, people do it for different reasons. So if I have 25,000 followers and then a certain party comes and say like, Kenny, we want you to say not support us, so I'm like, it's a marketing strategy, it's important. So you don't know why they're doing it. You see, so if you're not sure about charity, how do you move your heart? So if you're not sure, you see, because people don't do things that they don't benefit. You see,
Yeah.
So maybe or something that he wanted, or maybe I don't know. But I'm just saying, Guti, whatever that you do with your career, you must be very careful. Is it going to benefit me? Because you cannot just be supporting someone without benefiting somehow.
So if this then becomes a thing, do you think that the people who are being approached or the artists themselves that then show support for a certain party, because it's not only ZANU-PF and Holy 10, I think the CCC, they've also got a couple of musicians.
At some point.
At some point, yeah. Now it's very controversial. But yeah, they've also got a couple of artists that do. Should your decision be based off of the benefits that you're going to receive from the support that you're going to give? Or should it be more of a moral stance where you say, Guti, is this truly what's good for me? Yeah. Is this truly the party that should still continue? Or you got 2 minutes and then make the decision?
People always want to decide based on who's putting much food on their plate. Like, come on.
It has to benefit you, yes. But like when we look at what are morals, that's something that's a little bit more, it's more intimate, you know? Because when you say morals, I instantly think of, okay, like what do I value?
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's then gonna help me make a decision on who I'm gonna support. So if I'm not benefiting from you, I'm most likely not going to support you. I'll go for where I'm
benefiting.
Exactly.
And yeah.
I actually wanted to answer your first question. Like you can't grow up in a world where you're not involved politically. It's nearly impossible. That's why voting has a certain age. So I feel your life and the two cannot be separated. So how you choose to move from that is up to you and your future. So Holy 10, that's his life. Him, me, you, that's your life. But I'm saying politics and your life cannot be separated. So you should know. Should watch the news here and there, whatever. Know who's your MP, because people voted, they don't know who's the MP. They just seen just Do you even know this guy? What has he done for you?
Yeah. True, and I feel
so it's like there's a lot of waves to it. That's
a very good perspective, because like I didn't grow up in Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
So I grew up in Kenya. So like growing up in Kenya.
Foreign thing in the house. Sorry. I'm Siphosetu.
Okay.
And I'm single.
Like growing up in a foreign country.
Podcast Kenya.
Kenya. Yo, can you call my mother? So you go through me. like you need the link to get there. So I'm the link. It's alright. We get as you were saying.
Yeah, like having grown up in Kenya, I didn't think about politics. Like I didn't even understand like how does politics affect me, because I grew up in a country where I'm not involved politically. I'm not from there. So even if I maybe wanted to be part of like voting and everything, I can't. So now having come back to Zim, it's like, oh wait, I'm Zimbabwean and I'm in Zimbabwe. So, but I don't really quite understand how that world works, because I haven't been exposed to that. How would you like help someone who is in my position to
be more informed?
So to say,
to decide. Oh.
No, not to decide, but to come to know and understand, politics.
The first step is to be patriotic.
Patriotism.
Patriotism.
What does that mean, though?
Let me check the dictionary. I don't want to give a wrong definition, but let me see. What does that mean?
So basically, pride of country, which essentially pushes you to get involved in everything that has to do with the country. So we're talking, oftentimes when it comes to politics, the political activity only starts happening when it's time for elections. But then these councillors and these MPs that you're talking about, they don't necessarily have my projects, my nobatika, akawanda that help the youth of the country to essentially be encouraged to be politically active, right? So when you talk of patriotism, basically, all these issues
love
that
of your
involve
country.
exactly that involve your country. But I mean, there has been a bit of progress, I personally think, and I'm seeing, and this is maybe deviating a bit from what we're talking about, but then in the political realm, I've seen a lot of female players. Have you guys realized is that I'm starting to see much more women?
It's been encouraged. My friend's grandmother is the MP. I think that's enough I can say.
Is that what
I don't even remember
who's your friend, dude? He needs to be my friend too, yeah.
Don't worry, like after the show, he doesn't like me talking about
it's really something nice, like, but it's something nice to see women taking part in politics. From where I come from, Masitra, the Minister of State for Provincial Affairs, is a lady.
Okay.
Mavunga. Mavunga. And and now can I check out even now the court and the youth court and all that, is to encourage women to
be part
and parcel of these whole things, because at times women feel they are being neglected. So maybe when they're given a chance to run, because we have good leaders that are famous, like we have great leaders, like I wouldn't want to vote for Vanessa.
But
you see.
So she's my idol, by the way.
Is she?
I just like she was the first woman to be the Minister of Defense. For me, I was just like, nah, that's fine.
She also has a very interesting history as well. I don't know if you've ever checked her out, but then she's got a very interesting history.
Yeah, she's pretty deep.
She's got an interesting history. But so it makes us feel good. We are making progress in that, in that political spheres where progress is happening. You're getting people that were not necessarily marginalized, but less represented, actually coming out and saying, good, we've now got women you can vote for. We've got young people you can vote for. I've seen the youth quarter thing that you're talking about. There's a number of young people there.
I think we have to ignite a parliament food, because we have energetical people, young people, very vibrant. So what did I say? And like just having like people, because these young people come with other ideas and experiences that Matero doesn't see. Matero, they have good advice, the good links, they have been there, but we are living it. So to know after maybe even they don't see it as something that affects us now, but it's also since we are living in that period in time, it's something that really affects us. So and obviously 2028 I'm running for something.
Exactly. That's where it's supposed to go. You see, that's where it's exactly.
And this is what we're trying to promote, right? And it's not impossible. It's not even impossible. What I've realized is that empathy doing good quads, and also the unwillingness to be involved in those spheres, and also where we come from at home, we're being told, I'm not fine, what do you know about politics? What do you understand? That type of thing. And that's not very fair, it's not very fair. But another also very interesting aspect of it is the politics in Zimbabwe. With regards to tribalism, what is your take, and like what patterns are you guys seeing in terms of numbers? And I'm pretty sure you'd have noticed something if you're following the politics and just like the whole voting process. Is there anything that you've noticed? I think you come from Matebele.
I did not have any stats whatsoever. I came to Harare when I was 14 months, so I have no stats of that place, so nothing. So you can move it on, because like I came to Harare when I was 14 months. So I'm actually in Debate, like I'm hiking Debate. But like I do not have those stats.
Okay. So here's an interesting stat. I think if I stand to be corrected, but then I think the ZANU-PF didn't do very well in the Matebele land, which is Ndebele provinces. And I mean, you might want to try and separate that from the
how
fact
many
that
MPs
overwhelmingly Mandebele.
How many did they win? So Blawa is like the main province for. So like saying that's the heart of the.
Right. Of
how many MPs did they get?
I'm not entirely sure of the numbers, but I do know that they didn't do too well in Matabeleland.
And for Mashona, the Central will be
Why
part
is
of it,
that, though?
and that 18 MPs.
Which would be a very interesting question as a follow-up. Why is that? Could that be because...
Is it not because of the history that they have? The whole Gukura Wundi
Thank you very much. Somebody did history with me. Shout out.
So what is that about? Can you explain
How much
it?
do you guys know about that though?
Okay, let me say this now.
Yeah.
So if in Blawayo, Triple C got like all the 13 MPs, right?
I'm
Right?
not too sure.
And then in Mass Central, ZANU-PF gets 18, all of them.
What are you saying? Shona.
So I'm saying if we want to put that as far as the Gukura Wundi stuff, how people blame and all that, I think we as the young people, right, we should be rewriting our history that accommodates everyone as we are part of being Zimbabweans. It was something that happened for the reason that it happened, right? And we now have to reconcile. Reconciliation between us because we are brothers. We are one family. We are one Zimbabwe. So if we keep on looking back at that and having all those grievances without solving them, we are killing our country. Because Bulawayo is not on its own. We are not on our own. We are Zimbabwe. All right. So where we should be going is what happened, right? What is it that we can do? We as the young people, right, to have good relations with ourselves. And because it's not really good for me in Mshona Kwendo Blawayo for real, right? As much as it might not be good for them to come this side as well. So what we should be trying to find are solutions to the current problem that we have of tribalism and all that, because it's not really good.
Oh no. I think any sort of issues that are they're totally not something that we'd want to have for a very long time. But I guess you can possibly agree that the history affects. And
Greatly,
this is why we're having these effects now and these things that we're seeing that certain parties do too well in certain areas, essentially because of a very interesting history. I actually read that history and it's a very interesting history. And we're obviously not going to talk about it now because
the same way the people from the province I was comparing have a good history as well of how important the liberation struggle was.
100%. And
comparison.
And this is where all of that stems from. So it's a very interesting conversation. Unfortunately, we will not be able to have it right now because we have run out of
chips.
Bit of time. Oh no!
I thought chips because
imagine running out of chips.
No, you can't run out of chips.
Like,
you can't run out of chips.
But obviously the Rasta there was showing about really something to say. I think he should have some time. Be given time to just explain on his perspective, because
I think what we encourage is that as young people, let's read our history, let's study it, and I think hopefully on this podcast over time, if we actually do get people that are informative, we can even try and bring them up front and help them, just like educate the nation, because then sometimes just reading may not make as much sense, but then if you've got young people who actually know. Young people who have experience, and actually, talking about it, then it becomes a bit more interactive and better in the way. But so it's a wrap. We will see you on the next episode.